Okay, so I wanted to make a video today about um, thoughts I've been having regarding where I'm at right now and where I've been and what I've been through and what's going on. Kind of an update, which kind of as usual seems like of at least a very similar video to the video I've made 200 times before, something like that, but it's probably not that drastic. The good news is I bought the e-cigarette, and I can't wait to start this puppy because this ain't cutting it. So I was just thinking about how you've struggled with this realization of what's been holding you back and what holds you back and what is it about you that where you find this difficulty moving forward and progressing, and what was it that happened over a 5-year period when you worked as a resident manager and you found it hard to connect and there were some really just empty, drastic times, and you've got a million videos detailing that and what was going on then. And you were thinking, well, part of it is emotional, and there were things that you needed to get through. But, a major factor in there was the fact that you were conflicted. You got the resident manager job, and you had told. I know you made a video saying this before, but it feels like a new clarity today, and maybe that's a whole different issue. I don't know, but am I forgetting how times I've come to clear moments and then kind of being redundant and repeating myself? That's interesting. I'd like to know that, but there was there's this realization that you had to have a job, you had to have health care, you had to support yourself. So you were very fortunate. You felt very fortunate. It was just the right job, and it was. It was just the right job at the right time, and it was just for a filmmaker. Are you kidding? A writer, filmmaker. It just was perfect. And so what ended up happening is you had some wonderful times. You made your videos, you did what you could. You discovered YouTube, and you discovered online video, and that was just the fact that you could share content was just, I think it was overwhelming. Really, I think it was wonderful. And then there was at the same time this part where a part of you got wrapped up in other YouTube channels that I'm not sure that the guy that you with another 80 IQ points would have gotten so caught up in. Maybe that's not fair to say. Maybe that's not at all fair to say. I don't think it is, actually. I think that it happened for a very good reason, and I think that you got caught up in a particular YouTube channel because there was something there that had been missing for you in your childhood, and that was just very poignant, and it was refreshing, and it was inspiring to see these particular kids having a great life, and their father's a maniac, and he's creative and you know, corny as all hell, but very much something that you could have you recognize very clearly that you could have prospered in this. It would have been fascinating to put yourself, your child, in with this particular family, and that was a major factor as to why you became obsessed. You know, and I don't know if I would say obsessed in not in a negative term at all, just incredibly interested and absorbing. You know, what, you know, this is it. You know, this is what it could have been like. So, but you were making your videos, and you had some wonderful times. You can't forget that you had. It was elation. It was inspiration. You remember sitting there editing, you know, acquiring the Adobe Production Suite for free, doing the documentary. You know, you got involved with the documentary. You know, these were things that you did. That you can't forget that you went forward. You took the steps to do this instead of sitting on your ass in a dark living room and not doing anything. And I think that because that happens, or that happened, and it happens to you all too frequently, you know, there's a part of you that goes, well, you know, what's going on here? Let's get this on the road. Let's get this going. So, you know, it came to a point very quickly in the new job where you had made some videos very quickly. You made some short films, and you made some music videos, and then you kind of got to a point where you're like, well, I'm ready. You know, I'm ready to move on. I'm ready for the next level. I'm ready for more actors. I'm ready for a bigger crew. I'm ready for. I can very well picture, you know, how exhilarating it would be to make a film at the family cabin or be on location, someplace where I've never been, and how fun and exciting that would be, and you know, just like that's living, and that, you know, that's very important to realize, because there was a codec written in your mind that was playing at this time that said, no, you have to be here, you have to stay here, you have to do this, and this is where you're at, and don't you forget it, and you should be grateful. And you did a great job. 100%. You did a great job at feeling, you know, realizing that you have a lot to be thankful for. You should, you know, and you reiterated that. You have a lot to be thankful for. I'm so grateful. I don't have anyone looking over my shoulder. And, you know, you repeated this. This was on constant repeat. And you realize that only stretches so far, that there's something better, there's something bigger, there's something more out there, and there's something that codec that plays is a, you know, kind of, it felt like the tip of the iceberg of the thing that's holding you down like an anchor, and you're not, you know, you're not able to progress. So you were really getting to the point of what that is, and that is, it's that simple, you know. It's the fact that you kind of were taking note of your surroundings. Well, I'm in this apartment complex behind a brick wall, and, you know, there's on the other side is a freeway. I mean, they built that wall during the time you were there, but, you know, you had told Jocelyn at the time you moved in that you felt like you were moving to a third world country, and you didn't mean that in any derogatory sense, other than that space in particular felt different. It just felt different. I mean, there was this beautiful building that you were right beside this golf course, which is adjacent to the park you had gone to a million times when you were a kid, but there was a lot of great things about it. But for better or worse, it still felt like, I don't. This isn't where I would ideally be, and all those things during the time that you expired the thrill of making videos alone and making short films practically by yourself. You were taking note. What's around me? What am I doing? What am I doing with my life? What's going on? What is this? And everything kind of started to seem like it was closing in. The apartment, you were bored. You were getting very antsy and bored. You still had to do the work. You always said that you were. I'm so fortunate, but then you were like, the work, which was pretty mundane and pretty straightforward. It's not what you want to do with your life. So you were like, and that's the sensitive part of you. The sensitive part of you was overwhelmed by that. You were like, oh fuck, God. And it's always kind of been like that, but where you were overwhelmed with like you have to do some paperwork, and then it's like I don't fuck, but that gets right in the way of me trying to hone my skills in what I'm fascinated with and what I love. I love motion pictures, and I love photography, and I love art, I love painting, and it's just, I need to sit down and focus on this as much as possible. I don't need to have these corroded, debilitating feelings of feeling closed in, claustrophobic, like I'm sitting out some kind of wasteland in a way. There's just more I can contribute, and there's nothing wrong with realizing that. I mean, that's a brilliant thing to realize. It's going to help you. It's going to help you. It's just a really great thing to behold. So right now I think you're doing better at realizing it than you've ever done, really. So, all these factors where, you're talking about all these things and you're caught in this place, and there's this, like, oh my God, this feeling like, what, this codec is playing, this record is playing, I have to be here, I have to stay here, or I have to be here, and you did, you couldn't always jump around, you had to be present for your boss and your supervisors, and you made the company thousands of dollars, and you did a fucking phenomenal job, but you wanted, inevitably you were going to do it your way. You're like, well, I'm really getting tired of this, and I want to set it up. You were getting tired of it, and you were inevitably you said, well, I don't know. I have to be here. I've exhausted the thrill of making some of these more experimental minimalist videos, and it's just eating at me, and yet I want I desperately want to move on, and I want to find out what comes next. And you felt like you couldn't, you felt like that was unobtainable in a way. You felt like, I don't want to ruin this. I don't want to go out and try to look for a new job, because that's a new job that I'm going to be inevitably miserable in. And in a way you want to say, well, there are starving children in Africa, so you should just be fortunate. But it doesn't make it, that of in itself you can just drop, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. It's like saying, there are starving children in Africa and there are poor people, therefore I shouldn't be schizophrenic. It's not really a choice you have. It's kind of the way it is. It's not a choice you have. It's just, these are the feelings you're having, and they're relevant to you. They're not outlandish. You're not alone. So, what I think we covered it. I feel like we're missing something. So I wanted to say that I wrote down here the emotional health and the functional health. And you did have some emotional things that needed taken care of for sure. I mean, that's not that would have persisted no matter where you were, or would have been there, would have been present. I think that they would have been. I'll say it like this in the most fantasy oriented way, that if you had your cast and your crew and you had collaborators that just wanted to be with you, and you had to, you were going to work with them, and this was, they were going to be with you 1,000%, you would have organically just moved into that and been like, well, I'm struggling with this, but this is great. I love this, and I'm doing what I'm meant to do, and moving forward and progressing. So there's all that. You realize that in your most ideal situation, those emotional elements would have been easier to overcome. They would have been, in a sense, not to say that there wouldn't have been some terrifying moments or moments of like, oh my God, but they're exacerbated and they're exaggerated when you're in an environment where you're just not happy. It's hard to persist in an environment where you're not happy. It's really difficult for anyone. I think that's well done. If we need to do a part 2, we'll do a part 2. Lovely.